boy, here we go. We're live from Cleveland, the final night of a Republican convention that featured a diverse pool of politicians, entrepreneurs, celebrity speakers. Here to discuss now, Bruce LeVell, Executive Director of the National Diversity Coalition for Trump, and also my political dream team here. So we heard from this week, we heard from Pastor Mark Burns, who was on, Pastor Darrell Scott, who was on, Sheriff Clark, who was on, Ben Carson did not come on. Here's what the New York Times is reporting. Oh my God, look at this man. He was working up a sweat tonight. New York Times is reporting this. They ran a headline that says, Black Republicans see a white convention heavy on lectures. What's your reaction to that?
Well, you know, look, I thought everything was awesome. I think, you know, Don, it was very impressive. You know, it was a lot of passion. And this is just the beginning of what you're about to see as we go on into November. Yeah. You're going to see a lot more across the country, not just these gentlemen, but many, many more gentlemen. They're going to be strong advocates for Donald Trump.
But your specific reaction to this?
It was awesome.
No, to this headline.
I mean, New York Times, who are they? Is that the one?
Well, but I mean, when you look at, come on, let's just be honest here. When you look at, what is it, 17 delegates out of 2,000?
To be exact.
But you understand why that happens, correct?
17 delegates of color.
Can I explain why that happens?
Sure.
Okay, here's the deal. Now, some of us are members of parties. I don't know everyone's political affiliation here. Well, I know this gentleman down here. I don't know this gentleman here. I know her. But it takes a lot of process to become a delegate. You know, for example, the gentlemen that you mentioned there were Democrats. They voted for President Obama. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of these folks are in the Trump camp. If you go on my website, our website, ndctrump.com, you'll see there's thousands of people who are over there with the Trump camp who voted for President Obama. So when they go into their precincts and try to go through the process to become a delegate, they're going to be denied at it because they have no long-term longevity in that, which is harder to become.
So how do you fix that then? How does the Republican Party become a big
2020, when we have a re-election for Donald Trump, you'll see a total difference in that auditorium.
But that also, that argument falls flat when you look at the fact that George W. Bush had 135 African-American delegates at his convention. And so when you look at the fact that now we have the fewest delegates that we've had in over 100 years, that means that, I mean, they had to go, I mean, they weren't coming from...
We're talking about 2016. We're not talking about.
But you said your reasoning was because they were coming over from Barack Obama, and I'm just saying George W. Bush had 135, and they weren't coming over from Barack Obama. And my argument, my retort is that I believe that reason is because, and that argument falls flat, and that reason is because Donald Trump is making the party smaller.
Well, remember now, what makes Donald Trump where he is now is because all the systems are infected. Both sides of the parties have failed miserably. So they quit. They gave up. And Donald Trump
But doesn't that suit this argument that he's making the party smaller? No?
No, because that was part of the old system, that establishment.
So this is a reincarnation or a reboot of the party.
This is this is a revolution.
Okay, so
this is bigger than that.
So you said to me earlier that you're going to do a lot of African American outreach.
We're going to do a lot of everything outreach. We're going to outreach
of color. How important? Because if you look at the demographics of the country now,
right?
You look at what happened with Romney. The polls were the same, sort of. You know, they were close. Mm-hmm. Even had Romney winning, and then on election night, it was like, whoa, what happened? So how do you reach out to more minorities now in order to put Donald Trump into the White House?
The difference is that we're going to maintain our message, the message of jobs, the message of accountability in a system that both sides, Democrats and Republicans, historically have failed. I mean, Don, look what has happened. You know, 16 candidates, senators, governors. Donald Trump beat all of them with $45 million from last year to date, with Jeb Bush spending $60 million just on one attack.
But he still needs those certain demographics in order to get into the White House.
That message of strong jobs and illegal immigration will resonate as we go on to November, and that will solidify those.
What happened the last year and a month since he's been in the race? Why is the outreach starting now? I mean, I think that
it's been going on.
But I think, but it's not.
I've been doing this since last year.
But I mean, but the results show that you've had. If you've been doing this since last year, and you still only have 17 delegates here, and the fact that we see in the polls.
Now, I've already explained to you why.
I get that. But I get that. But I'm saying, and we've seen the polls in Pennsylvania and Ohio where Donald Trump doesn't get 1% of the African American vote, or 2% of the
under whose poll?
He got 0%.
Alone has that 1%.
He got 0% of the African American vote in Pennsylvania and Ohio in the recent polls.
No, I disagree with that.
Okay, let's move on.
We can only improve from
because we're gonna, so there's nowhere else to go but up. Let's talk. You said to me earlier that as we were on the floor, by the way, watching Ivanka's and Donald Trump's speech tonight.
Right.
You said they're the new Kennedys. You told me that.
You know, because of, look at the family, Don. I mean, Donald Trump has done a magnificent job raising his kids. I mean, just to see the passion from Eric Trump, from Tiffany Trump, from Ivanka Trump.
Donald Jr.
Donald Jr. And in terms of that passion that just flows over into their family. I mean, I would vote for Ivanka. I would vote for Donald Trump Jr. I would vote because I know that passion has fallen into that family.
From one speech, you would
no, just because I know them. I mean, just their character and their personalities. You know, I think that this is the beginning of a Trump dynasty. I really do.
That's scary.
The beginning.
No, it's not.
That should make,
that's a good
that's
thing.
kind of uncomfortable. I have to say, as someone, for people who don't come from families like that, to see that a family is so much political power invested only within their own family, I think is worrisome. We don't believe, kind of authoritarian, but like the dynasty idea, you know, our nation has been ruled by the Bushes, the Clintons, and now we're going to go to another family like this. How do people who aren't related to the Trumps get into that inner circle and give him the advice that he needs?
I didn't say that, but
let Kaylee go. Go ahead.
Right, and I mean, you can laugh at the dynasty comment when you're advicating for Hillary Clinton, whose husband Bill Clinton used to be a president, and I don't think
that's not a dynasty.
But her daughter isn't in
on what
an
planet
advisory role.
On what planet?
It's a House of Cards, Steve.
Only in the media can we come up with a theory.
House of Cards
Only
is not
in
the
the
way to go.
media can we come up with the theory that their kids are too articulate, too good, too
No, that's
qualified.
not it.
Nobody's saying that.
I just said earlier tonight, I said that all the kids were the best part of this.
No.
But it's putting a negative spin on what was a phenomenal
Kaylee, apparently you're not listening. That's not what anyone on this panel
You're
said.
uncomfortable with the fact that they're qualified to run for office?
So Kaylee, let me go back so we're very clear. I thought the highlight of the convention, the best speakers of the convention, were the children. I thought it built up every night. Don, Eric, Ivanka was the best one of them all. I just thought that
I think Don Jr. was.
Ivanka was shorter as well, but I just think that was amazing. I was just going to his point about the Kennedys and the dynasty, and I mean, the simple fact of the matter is that John F. Kennedy and the Kennedys did a lot of bringing and unifying and policy.
And were you uncomfortable with them because they all happened to be from
well,
the
they
same
became
family?
a dynasty after a long history
You were
of
uncomfortable with them, I
politics
assume.
And
you're uncomfortable with your candidate who comes from the Clinton dynasty.
Who are her
Hillary's
parents?
not going to have a member of her family speak every night of the
Her
convention.
husband was president.
Hold on a second. One of the
Chelsea
reasons
Clinton is not running for president.
the Trump family has so much political power and they're featured every night is because there weren't many other people willing to be featured speakers.
That's not true.
Donald Trump is not taking advice from a broad swath of people. He needs to find more people to guide him. And if he's only being guided by his
You don't
own
know that.
children...
How do you know he's only being guided by his
Because
children?
all the reporting from CNN shows they say that he is guided by his children.
No.
Who picked his vice president?
You have never been in an inner room with Trump. You don't know who he's guided by.
Because I'm not related to him, probably.
We got to go. We'll be right back.
I don't think he wants never Trumpers.